So. All right, Robbie, all yours, man.
Ready to take your favorite WagerTalk handicappers wherever you travel this football season? The WagerTalk TV app is now live for phones, tablets, smart TVs, and streaming platforms. Tune into your favorite shows like WagerTalk Today, Bet on It, and the Opening Line Report, plus browse through our extensive library of sports betting tips. Create your personal playlist of betting tip videos to help you prepare for the upcoming season, and set notifications to alert you when new content is added. Download the app for Apple, Android, Amazon, and Roku devices by searching for WagerTalk TV, or scan the QR code on your screen to join the winning conversation today.
Welcome into the best damn college football show out there. I am Drew Martin, joined by two of the best college football betting minds in the business. That's Ralph Michaels in the top right and Robbie Veno in the bottom right on your screen. Guys, I am excited to get into this week one college football. We got 3 games on the slate. We'll go over best bets at the end. Going around the horn here, Ralph Michaels at Cal Sports LV. If you're not following him on Twitter, you're missing out on some good trends, some good stats for college football betting. Ralph, I know you're excited, man. Week one is here. Welcome in, bud.
Hey, Drew. Awesome. Rob, great seeing you again. I want to give a plug to Gold Sheet. I'll use my time here to go give a quick promo. Guys, WagerTalk bought Gold Sheet about 3 years ago. Continue to add incredible data to it, power ratings, if you go to the Gold Sheet right now, you can download this week's issue absolutely free. No phone number needed, no email needed. All you need, go to goldsheet.com in the top right. The username is free at goldsheet.com, like an email address. The password free, F-R-E-E. You'll get access, download it, click a button, it'll send a PDF to your desktop, and you'll have this week's Gold Sheet absolutely free. Enjoy it.
Love it. Gold Sheet, I got a story I'll tell during the show as well about that. But we got to bring Robbie Veno in, guys. If you like deep dive-in analysis, the guy that really knows this college football, Rob Veno's your guy, at Rob Veno Sports on Twitter. Check him out, wagertalk.com. Robbie, happy Wednesday to you. Happy week one college football, buddy.
Yeah, great to have the gang back together here on Wednesday, guys. One of my favorite shows that we do at Wager Talk every Wednesday, I guess it'll be this year. And I just want to, I'll very quickly just say that, Ralph, I've graduated from the regular Zebra pen to the Zebra F402. I want to show everybody for this season what we've graduated to. So we look to bring you the best information we can all season long.
Pens up when we got a good point. It's coming to you throughout the show. Great game starting us off. Ralph, actually, Robbie, start off with you first, if that's cool. We'll go to Ralph first for Louisville, Syracuse. Utah -3 in the swamp, 51 being the total here, Robbie. Talk about, a fan. This one is fascinating. Pac-12 at the SEC, but yet we say Pac-12, this is like the biggest bruisers in the Pac-12, offensive line, defensive line, well coached, talking about the Utes under Whittingham. I like Utah. I agree with this line move here. Throughout the summer, it's a flip favorite. Now it's as high as Utah -3. Robbie, what are you thinking? Saturday night, 51 being the total, Utes -3 in the Swamp.
Yeah, Drew, I think that, for Florida, you have questions here, right? Obviously, it's a new coaching staff. But what's bigger than that is the way their defense played last season. Defensively, it was a poor tackling team, poor assignment discipline team. And Billy Napier has been chosen to come in and fix all of that. Can he fix it immediately in week one? He's a guy who, when he went to ULL, he told anybody that would listen that he was going to bring the Alabama philosophy, the Alabama culture. He had been a wide receivers coach there, and he did. He brought everything from systems to culture. Everything about ULL kind of mirrored what Alabama does. Now you got to bring it to Florida, and we'll see if in game one against a very, very physical team, if he can get his team to match the physicality of Utah here. It'll be an interesting question. It's hard to answer it before the game starts. I would think it's a difficult assignment for Florida in that regard. So we'll see how that pans out. I think the other question mark certainly would be Florida quarterback Anthony Richardson. A lot is expected of this quarterback, certainly highly touted. We don't have a lot of results to base anything on. We just have a ceiling of potential here. For Richardson, I think, these week one games are fascinating, right? Because these head coaches have 6 months to prepare for the opener if they are faced with a, solid opponent, which Utah is here. So for 6 months, you have to figure that Kyle Whittingham has preached to his team pocket containment where Anthony Richardson is concerned. And let's see if he can throw the ball consistently. He's got a rocket arm, but can he complete passes from the pocket on a consistent basis? I think that's another question mark for Florida. I think he'll be forced to do so. When they converted guys from Dan Mullen's spread option, which incorporates a lot of quarterback runs, to this particular offense, which doesn't necessarily incorporate a lot of quarterback runs, more RPO than quarterback running game. Think of ULL with Levi Lewis and what Napier did with Levi Lewis. Here's a kid who ran the ball 7 times a game last year, 5 times a game the year before, 5 times a game the year before. So I don't know that Richardson will be certainly used as a guy running the football other than broken plays and scrambling. So look for Utah to try and keep him in the pocket. This is more of a pro-style system here. The running backs are there. The offensive line is there. The receivers are there for Florida to be good over time. We'll just see if it can develop right away. For Utah, 60 returning Letterman off of a team. Guys, I think the best thing that happened to Utah was they went to that Rose Bowl last year against Ohio State and had success. 48-45 final, showed that they could play in any venue, under any circumstance, against any opponent. Certainly Ohio State's offense far more talented than this year's Florida's. So they've got all that under their belt here. The last thing I'll address here real quick, I'll turn it over to Ralph, is this issue about a mountain time zone team coming into heat and humidity and that being a reason to play against them. It sounds good in theory, but Boise State went to Tallahassee in 2019, got themselves buried at halftime, 31-19 in heat, 86-degree heat, about 70% humidity that day, and then won the second half 17-0. A mountain time zone team isn't supposed to be able to win the second half 17-0. So if you're the better team, you're the better team. Conditions here are going to be a little stiffer, humidity-wise. There's possible showers early. And I'll say this, guys, if the thunderstorms do occur, the game stops. They go to the locker rooms and they come back when the weather's better. So I think here I would look at Utah. I just think Utah, if this were week 6, week 7, I might lean Florida. But week 1, I just think Utah's the better team. I think they'll be well prepared, more physical. Give me Cam Rising and the Utah Utes.
Like in Utes as well. Ralph, great game, man. Saturday night. A lot of good ones in the 7 o'clock Eastern hour. This one, my personal favorite. What are your thoughts here in the Swamp?
Rob, thanks a lot for bringing up Boise and Florida State. That was my top weekly play with that opening week. Remember, it was supposed to happen at Jacksonville. They had a hurricane. They moved it to Tallahassee, giving Florida State more of an edge. And, Boise State had a true freshman named Brockmeyer making his first ever start on the road against the Chant. And what does he do? He eats him up. But appreciate that. I'm going to give you reasons not to play Utah. Drew, you like Utah. Rob, you like Utah. I lean Utah. Whittingham, 7-1-1 road openers. He has his team prepared. 17 returning starters. You have a team that down the stretch with their quarterback after the quarterback change. Remember, they started with Charlie Brewer, struggled in that loss to BYU and San Diego State, then made the change to Rising. But here's why I'm not going to do it. Number one, the pressure. Utah, top 10 team. Utah expected first Pac-12 team to make a championship. That's a lot of weight to put on your shoulders. Utah being a favorite, disrespect for Florida. The Florida Gators are still a prideful team. They're an SEC team getting points at home against the Pac-12 team. Florida, a home dog 3 times since 2018, 3-0 ATS. And I'll tell you what, they gave Bama all they could handle last time they played. You look at Utah on the road last year. They went to USC, outgained. Went to Oregon State, outgained. At BYU, outgained. In the Rose Bowl, outgained by 220 yards. They played no close games. Cam Rising has not been in a close game. If this is a close game in the second half, we'll see what happens. They ended up being a close game against Ohio State, but they were up in the first half and then lost that lead. Then you got the Florida edge. Last year, everyone talks about Utah having a great year. Guess what? They were plus 89 yards per game. How about if I told you Florida was plus 95 yards per game in a tougher schedule? Why did they have their record? They were minus 9 turnovers. They fell apart. They didn't have the continuity. I'm a big fan of the coaching change. First coach Billy Napier, you only have 13 returning starters. If Todd Graham ever has a major DC job again, I wouldn't understand why anyone hires him. Rob went through those issues. So while I'm not going to go as far as saying I have a lean on Florida, all of those things has me just watching and enjoying this game. And remember, guys, it's okay not to play a game, even if you're going to watch. Just learn things about both teams, and passing is just fine sometimes.
Yeah, good. Words of wisdom there from Ralph Michaels, guys. And also to Robbie's point in terms of, the humidity aspect, I just did a quick search here on their roster. Looks like Utah has 10 guys from the state of Florida. I also did Alabama and Georgia, of which they have 15 guys if you incorporate all 3 of those states. And then Hawaii, they have a bunch of Hawaiians on there. I'm just kind of thinking of warm weather with humidity. Then they have 25 guys on their roster. So I don't know, guys. A lot of people kind of used to that humid aspect to it. I don't know if I would put a lot into that, but good points from both Veno and Ralph here with a good game Saturday night. We got next game up here, Louisville and Syracuse, guys. We're breaking down 3 games. Look towards best bets at the end. Minus 4.5 here. Louisville as the road favorite, 57 being the total. Ralph, you liking anything here in the Carrier Dome?
Drew, I'm going to make this simple. This is my best bet. Why is it my best bet? Well, it's an actual client release. I released it on Tuesday at minus 4, minus 4.5. Still no problem for me. I'm a fan of Satterfield, and yes, they've had a couple down years, but he took over a 2-10 team, and he's changed the culture. You have the best quarterback in the ACC in Cunningham. You have a 1,000-yard rushing mobile quarterback against a very inexperienced D-line. Last year, Syracuse's D-line was an absolute strength. 4 senior starters with a first-team all-conference. Now they have 4 underclassmen starting on their D-line. Their starting defense in their depth chart is expected to be 10 underclassmen. Louisville, 5 returning offensive linemen starters, 51 starts last year, 122 career starts. Yeah, you have 2 new wide receivers for the Cardinals, but I guess what? They started 52 games collectively at Miami of Florida and Central Arkansas. UL's defense doesn't get enough credit. 3 all-conference players back on D, 5 transfers with 70 career starting experience. I am a fan of this team. And the last thing I'll say is this. People talk about Syracuse having 17 starters, and wow, they're going to be an improved team because of that. Well, let me tell you this. The year before, they had 19 starters. It does absolutely no good, college football fans, to try to dissect the team and say they have this many starters, and that means this. It matters how many starters they had 2 years ago. It matters how many starters they had last year. Is this number more than normal? Is this number less than normal? Is this number what they've been averaging? So the expectations have to be there with the same coaching staff to know what the number of returning starters means. That doesn't faze me at all. Louisville, an actual client release, and my best bet on the show.
All right, looking towards Louisville. Another point here, guys. Dino Babers, of course, since coming from the MAC conference in Syracuse, he's just 29-43 for the Orange. Not really the kind of success or lack of success you would have really thought when he took over. I thought he was going to do big things here with Syracuse. And hey, he's still got the job, so he's still got time, but it hasn't been good so far. Another thing kind of pointing down on Syracuse. Yeah, go ahead, Rob.
Yeah, Louisville over Syracuse the last 2 years, 71-3. That's not bad either.
Is that combined in the last 2 years?
2 years, the combined scores. Yeah, so when you have series domination like that, you can say all you have. Yeah, Syracuse has 68-point revenge for losses the last 2 years, or one team just has their number and they're that much better than them. However you want to dissect that number.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, actually, Rob Veno broke this down on the panel videos on the WagerTalk YouTube channel. We're up against it a little bit time-wise for this show, so go check that out. Robbie broke it down in depth here. Louisville, Syracuse. As we head to our last game, Notre Dame and Ohio State. Talk about big games Saturday night. Need 2 TV screens, probably 3 or 4, because a lot of games riding simultaneously. Notre Dame versus Ohio State. Ralph, coming back to you first. Total of 59 in the Horseshoe. We're seeing the Buckeyes minus 17. It's actually starting to tick up to 17 in the hook. Looking at the WagerTalk odds screen at some shops. What are you thinking Irish and Buckeyes Saturday night, Ralph?
I think I waited too long to be on the Buckeyes, but that's the only way I can play. I do not understand the hype for the Irish. I just do not. You look at, you have a new coaching staff. You lose a 3,000-yard passer. You lose a 1,000-yard rusher. You lose your top receiver. You lose your punter. You lose the kicker. And when you look at Ohio State, you legitimately have one of the best 2 quarterbacks in all of college football, one of the best 3 running backs in all of college football, one of the top 2 or 3 wide receivers in all of college football. You have a top 5 O-line, and you probably have a top 5, maybe top 7 D-line in the country. When you have a top 5 team, I pulled this stat out for you. When you have a top 5 team playing in week 1, they're 19-1 straight up, but they're only 6-14 against the spread. That's a powerful number to fade them. But when that top 5 team is playing a ranked team, going back to 2010, they have covered 69% of the time. So a top 5 team against a non-ranked opponent doesn't mind not running up the score. When a top 5 team has that ranked opponent, they do not look past them.
Robbie, coming to you next, man. What are you liking in the Horseshoe Saturday night? Might have you on mute, Rob. I don't know. I think we got him on mute. Not really sure. But Ralph, one thing I was thinking about with the hype for Notre Dame, the new coach, it was kind of like, I don't want to say like just social media, but him walking out, getting the coaching job and seeing the players and how excited they were, and also keeping the positional coaches around, both coordinators staying there in South Bend. I mean, how much do you factor that in? That the kids are actually excited about it, ready to rock, probably had a really good kind of off season. You don't think that's worth something with the Notre Dame kind of, I guess, being optimistic about this upcoming year?
I don't, Drew, and the reason is this. Have you ever turned on Notre Dame football in August and players saying, oh, we're not excited for the season? That's coach speak.
Good point.
Every defensive coordinator is going to blitz more. Every team has improved this year. Every quarterback looks great. I mean, that is just, to me, a coach speak. You got to prove it to me on the field. Yeah, he took it bad and he did great things. The one thing I will say is this. I give him complete credit for having the best recruiting class Notre Dame has ever had. To be an outsider coming in and being able to recruit like he did, hats off to them, and I think it's going to help Notre Dame. It's not going to help them this week with what they have to change.
Yeah, they're up against it just a little too much, maybe. We'll see. Saturday night, a good one. Robbie, do we got you back on? If so, what are you thinking here, Irish and Buckeyes?
Let me know if you can hear me.
Yeah, good to go.
Okay, good deal. Real quick here, guys. I was saying I have to agree with Ralph on the Ohio State side. Although power ratings wise, it's very difficult to show a 17-point gap here. I actually showed Notre Dame only being 13.5 less than Ohio State, but I think the matchup might dictate some things. A couple of quick responses to what Ralph said about losing a 3,000-yard passer. Jack Cohn wasn't, that great of a thrower. Missed a lot of balls last year. Maybe Tyler Buckner could have done the same if he had the starting job. Chris Tyree at running back maybe could have done the same thing Kyron Williams did last year. So those two guys are stepping in for them. Maybe Notre Dame will be just as good in those two positions. I'll also highlight what's been talked about the most about Notre Dame is, Notre Dame's without their number one wide receiver, and that's a hindrance to them in this game. That number one wide receiver, guys, is Avery Davis, a supposed number one wide receiver. Guy had 27 catches last year. Guy had 0 catches in the bowl game against Oklahoma State. There's 3 other receivers on this team that had as many, if not more, catches than Avery Davis. So I don't understand what the big deal is. If they had lost tight end Michael Mayer, I would have had a problem. But with Michael Mayer and the receivers that they have, they're going to be just fine. Very quickly, Marcus Freeman, defensive coordinator by trade, head coach now, in that bowl game against Oklahoma State, and this is really as far as I had to dig to get my entire handicap on this game, guys. They got absolutely torched by OSU. Spencer Sanders and what may have been the worst or least productive Oklahoma. The whole thing's gone.
A little bit of technical difficulties, Rob Veno's end, but we'll try to get him on here for kind of final thoughts, best bets going around the horn here. Ralph, I guess of the games we're talking about, and if not, maybe another game, did you have kind of a best bet you wanted to lead the watchers to? And any final thoughts here going into week 1 college football for sports bettors?
I'm going to finish up one thing that Rob said about Oklahoma State. You have to remember, why did Notre Dame look so bad? It was the Oklahoma State defense. Well, guess who's the new DC for Ohio State? It's Knowles, who was the DC at Oklahoma State last year. And what he's done to this team, every team says they're going to be better on defense. Ohio State has the talent to be better. As I mentioned, Drew, Louisville, clearly my best bet. It's an actual client release that I released a couple days ago. So it's going to be one of maybe only 5 plays I have this weekend. Clearly me, top play and best bet Louisville.
I like that, Ralph. I really like what you had to say there. Your analysis on Louisville and Syracuse, they've been so disappointing for so long. Dino Babers, like I talked about, just 29 and 43 here in his tenure. I think I'm going to tail you, Ralph. I mean, in terms of the 3 that we're talking about, you kind of talked me off of the Utah-Florida game, as did Mark Lawrence with a stat here, 47 and 33 against the spread since 1990. That's 57%. For playing on any team opening game if they lost their bowl game when they were favored by 7 or more points. So meaning they were supposed to win their bowl game by more than a touchdown, which the Gators were against UCF, if you remember right, last year's bowl season. They lost outright, meaning they got the long off season here. They're obviously not happy about it. Well, playing on a team in their opening game the next year with that scenario is 47 and 33. That's a long-term against the spread track record since 1990. The Gators hit that. So that's what's kind of going to make me pump the brakes on the Utes. Also what Ralph was talking about. And Louisville, -4.5, like that combined score the last 2 years. I don't think enough changes here for Syracuse. I'd lay it here, the short road favorite with Louisville as well with Ralph. Robbie, I think we got you back on. If so, any final thoughts here for the show? And yeah, man, I'll just throw it over to you. Hopefully we got you kind of voice-wise.
Yeah, real quick, if you can hear me. I'm just going to roll real quick with the best bet. I'll go to the same game that Ralph picked, but I really like over in that contest. I think Louisville can find their way to 38-plus points against Syracuse, and I think I'm a big fan of Robert Anae, the new offensive coordinator for the Syracuse Orangemen. He put 507 total yards on this Louisville defense last year as the OC of Virginia. Granted, it was Brennan Armstrong, but Virginia did not have a huge or a great cast of wide receivers. He's got a better cast of wide receivers here in Syracuse. As far as the rollover goes, 120 career starts on their offensive line last year, 120 back again this year, and all of them are guys who return. It's not a new set of offensive linemen. So I think they're better in that regard this year. They'll protect the QB better. The system will be better. Garrett Schrader should be better. Syracuse will get a few points here, but I do think Louisville will get certainly close to 40 in that one. So 57 just looks small to me, guys. Give me over 57. Louisville, Syracuse as the best bet in good conditions in the Carrier Dome.
Yeah, controlled climate. Weather won't be an issue. So, guys, Louisville, Syracuse, kind of top of mind for the three of us. Check out Ralph Michaels, WagerTalk.com. He's looking towards Louisiana Tech, plus the 3 touchdowns. Like that one, Ralph. Also, West Virginia-Pittsburgh game, got a free play up. Guys, 5% top plays from Ralph, 35-11 run. That's 76% run for his 5% plays. When Ralph's in with a 5%, you want to take notice. Check him out, Ralph Michaels, WagerTalk.com. Robbie Veno as well. Very good in the NBA. Knows his college football. Was just breaking it down here. 4% best bet sides, plus 33% ROI the last 2 years. That's number 1 at WagerTalk. So college football, Robbie Veno, Ralph Michaels, they got you covered. I am Drew Martin, also available at WagerTalk.com. This is the best damn college football show out there. Ralph Michaels, Rob Veno, Drew Martin. Pens up, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Huge shout out to the chat box. As always, Raven Ron, Johnny Outlaw, all of you guys. Sean in the house as well. Best of luck with your bets. We'll be back next Wednesday, 3 o'clock Eastern. Come back and join us. And best of luck until then, guys. Thanks for tuning in.
Ready to take your favorite WagerTalk handicappers wherever you travel this football season? The WagerTalk TV app is now live for phones, tablets, smart TVs, and streaming platforms. Tune into your favorite shows like WagerTalk Today, Bet on It, and the Opening Line Report. Plus, browse through our extensive library of sports betting tips. Create your personal playlist of betting tip videos to help you prepare for the upcoming season, and set notifications to alert you when new content is added. Download the app for Apple, Android, Amazon, and Roku devices by searching for WagerTalk TV, or scan the QR code on your screen to join the winning conversation today.